I know thy works, and tribulation, and poverty, but thou art rich. Welcome to the Black Excellence and Abundance channel. Harriet Tubman. Many of us know of her heroic efforts to free many enslaved Africans. But did you know that she was also a spy? Do we also know that she was born with a Hebrew name and that her family knew that they were Hebrews that dated back to the Ashanti tribe? Well, today on the Black Excellence and Abundance channel, we will be taking another look at this great freedom fighter that the world calls Harriet Tubman. She was born with the name Araminta Ross, which is a giving name in Hebrew meaning lofty, noble, or elevated in character and spirit. She had several sisters. One sister was given the Hebrew name Lina, meaning dwelling or lodging. Another sister was named Mariah or Moriah, which means chosen by Yah. She also had a brother named Ben or Benjamin, meaning son of my right hand, another Hebrew name. Still another sister by the name of Rachel, meaning little lamb, and a niece by the name of Keshia, meaning sweet scented spice. All Hebrew names indicating that this family knew that they were biblical Hebrews. There is a video with Harriet Tubman's descendants explaining that she knew exactly who she was, and she knew that she was actually a Hebrew, a biblical Hebrew, with all Hebrew names, and she knew the power of Almighty Yahuwah. We will leave a link to that video on this video. Thank you. Another lesser-known chapter in the courageous life of this freedom fighter is that she aided the cause of liberty by becoming a spy for the Union during the Civil War. She did what she had to do to free her people, and she was fearless in her efforts. Harriet Tubman was uncunning in her faith. She knew that the Most High Yah was with her every step along the way, and she walked in faith and not in fear. She was fearless. In her years of guiding people away from slavery on the Underground Railroad, Harriet Tubman had to arrange covert meetings, scout routes without drawing attention to herself, and think on her feet. And though she was illiterate, she learned to keep track of complex amounts of information. These were all skills that any aspiring spy would do well to acquire. In the spring of 1862, Tubman traveled to a Union camp in South Carolina, where she made it appear that she was there to assist former slaves who'd taken refuge with Union troops. But her Underground Railroad work made it likely she also intended to serve as a spy. Unfortunately, however, Tubman wasn't able to immediately start gathering intelligence. One problem was that being from Maryland, she had no local knowledge to draw on, and the liberated people from the area mostly spoke Gullah. Tubman took steps to bridge the distance between herself and the newly freed locals. Because they resented the fact that she received army rations while they had no such support, she gave hers up. To make ends meet, she made pies and root beer to sell to soldiers and operated a washing house. She hired some former slaves to help her do laundry and distribute her wares. She was a very cunning and industrious lady. Tubman ended up assembling a group of trusted scouts to map territory and waterways. She also did some scouting herself, having received $100 in Secret Service funds in January 1863. Tubman was also able to pay those who offered useful information, such as the location of the Confederate troops or ordnance.
In June 1863, Union boats carrying black troops journeyed to the Combahee River in Confederate territory. The usefulness of Tubman's information was demonstrated when the ships proceeded unharmed because they knew where Confederate mines had been submerged. Tubman oversaw the expedition alongside a colonel she trusted, making her the first and only woman to organize and lead a military operation during the Civil War. During the raid, Union soldiers gathered supplies and destroyed Confederate property. In addition, Tubman had told local slaves that these Union boats could carry them to freedom. When signaled, hundreds came rushing to be rescued. More than 700 people would be freed. Approximately 100 would go on to enlist in the Union Army.
The Comanche raid overwhelmed the Confederates thanks in large part to Tubman's espionage work, as one of their reports would concede. The enemy seems to have been well posted as to the character and capacity of our troops and their small chance of encountering opposition, and to have been well guided by persons thoroughly acquainted with the river and country. They were talking about Miss Tubman. A Wisconsin newspaper wrote about the success of the expedition, noting that a black woman had overseen the operation but didn't name Tubman. In July 1863, a Boston anti-slavery publication did credit Miss Tubman by name.
Tubman would go on other expeditions. However, the details of these expeditions were scarce. Nonetheless, she still continued to gather information for the Union. In 1864, a soldier noted that one general was reluctant to let Tubman leave South Carolina because he felt, quote, her services are too valuable to lose, as she was, quote, able to get more intelligence than anybody else from newly liberated people. Mrs. Tubman was only paid $200 during the war. She did get a small pension because her husband had been a Civil War veteran. This was later supplemented due to her service as a nurse during the conflict. However, she was never paid all the benefits she was owed.
We would also like to mention that in 1844, Harriet married John Tubman. It wasn't until 2003, after students told a then New York senator about Tubman's missing remuneration, that Congress finally provided $11,750 to the Tubman estate, which was adjusted for inflation. Again, another example of how black accomplishments were overlooked and ignored. The Black Excellence and Abundance Channel, where black history is every day.
Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. And as always, thou art rich.